What is going on, Union family, and welcome back to another video of We the Union. Thank you so much, I have to say this, for all of your kind words and all the comments that I received from the first video reacting to Coach Curtin and his departure. Unfortunate that the channel, in terms of YouTube content, had to come from something like that, but I was overwhelmed. And I find myself here today based on your request over on Instagram, the poll that overwhelmingly said that we need to continue doing something like this. And so here we are. If you're brand new and you're just watching, feel free to join the Union family on Twitter or X and Instagram at We the Union. And it is all about connecting fans to the team always. And so today we have something brand new for this brand new forum here. It is called Stay or Go. For those of you who are familiar with the Instagram format that we do, sometimes we have a stock up, stock down, and kind of following player progressions. Well, we're in the off season now, and it should not be news to anyone who is a diehard Union fan. Maybe this is a shocker to you, but we are in dire need of a hard reset. And this week, that ball kind of got rolling with the departure of Coach Jim Curtin after roughly 11 seasons with the club. And so now we are going to take a critical look at what this roster is, maybe what it isn't. And similar to a buy and sell, we're going to look at this through the lens of stay or go. Is this somebody who needs to stay, or is this somebody that we are okay with letting walk out the door? And feel free to drop a like or drop any of your comments down below as we are going through each position, and let's get started. So first up, we've got goalies, and first and foremost, I have to say this: continued prayers and thoughts out to the Trent family. We lost Holden a few weeks back, young keeper, only 25, with a bright future ahead of him. And we will continue to keep his family in our prayers. And if you are somebody who has ever considered being an organ donor, his family really pushed that because he was. And so feel free to look into more information to kind of carry on his legacy. As we look at these goalies, though, this is an interesting bunch. Andre Blake was injured most of this past season, but it is not far-fetched to say that he continues to be the linchpin, the backbone, the captain regarding our defense. For me, he is an easy stay. Although he is getting older, I think his quality is still there. His salary cap, too, comes right underneath the $1 million mark, which I think is well worth the services that he gives year in and year out. Andrew Rick, man, what a awesome story he was throughout the season. He has continually been a brick wall for Union 2. And any moments that he was on the Union first team, there was maybe a couple of moments at the beginning of the season where he looked a little shaky, trying to settle in, and after that he was exceptional. I was actually at the NYCFC game in New York where he had an incredible game. I believe it was 5-1, some clutch saves, and kind of kept them in the game despite them being up by such a large number. So for him, he's young, his cap hit is low, he's going to be a stay. Oliver Semla, man, he is a big head scratcher. 17 appearances, very frustrating at times. There were moments where there were constant miscommunication between him and the back line. A number of own goals to his name this year. For me, he is somebody that I would be okay with letting go. Of course, that is contingent upon whether we have enough depth pieces to bring in somebody maybe from Union 2 or in the winter transfer market, but that kind of wraps up where we're at for goalkeepers. Next, we're going to go on to defenders, and this is an interesting one. When I look at this list, there are 9 names here, and it doesn't really seem like that. It feels like to me throughout the entirety of the year we were struggling for defender depth, whether that would be international duty or injury or whatever it would be. And I look at this list and I go, man, do we really have this many defenders? But we do. So, and this list is courtesy of ESPN, so shout out to them. But we'll go right down the list here. Isaiah LaFleur, kind of young, didn't even make a debut, so he's kind of an NA in this case. The next two here, we look at Jack Elliott and Jacob Glesnes, two players that in 2022 were easily contenders for Best Defender of the Year back-to-back. Right now, they are crossing that 30-year mark, and their cap hits are roughly $1 million each. The way that they played this year, to me, does not justify that going forward. I'm probably okay keeping one over the other. I'm not exactly sure who the target audience is in terms of a replacement under the new style of play that Ernst is going to be seeking out through a new head coach. For me, I would probably be okay to let Jack go, Jacob Glesnes stay, only because he did contribute 2 goals and 3 assists, and he has a rocket of a foot in terms of free kicks. I like that a little bit more, although whenever I've played FIFA in the past, I do prefer a taller center back, but in this case, I would say Elliott go, Glesnes stay. Mbaizo, he is somebody that I could almost flip a coin with. He had 21 appearances, often away for international duty. I found him to be incredibly attacking at times, but it would leave him caught out. For me, I think he's not as reliable as I'd like him to be in one-on-one scenarios, so I would say go. Kai Wagner, easy stay, and there is nobody better on our team in terms of professionalism and output. The way that he just absolutely showed up and showed out, and he does it year on end. He's now the all-time leading assists. He had 13 assists from a left-back position. I would say sign this guy through the end of his career. I think he's incredible. I had the privilege to meet him this year, and he was incredible. So what a nice guy. Easy stay. Some of these other guys, the remainder of the list is kind of younger, so I would say they're all kind of null and void. I did think I skipped Harriel. Harriel, I would say keep. His stock continues to rise. His transfer market continues to rise. His output, I think, continues to rise. He has a little bit more of a goal threat, at least down the stretch at the end, back half of this season. I'm okay to keep him. I would say he's probably somebody that I need to see more out of in terms of a one-on-one defense. He's also not necessarily the first guy to get to a ball in the air, and sometimes that leaves us a little exposed. But I would say for now, stay. And I have to footnote this, Frankie Westfield, I am incredibly excited to see what his future looks like. Captain of the U2, 18 years old, has an eye for goal. I'm hoping we get to see some starting minutes from him this season. On to the midfielders. Kevin Sullivan. Obviously, he's a stay for many reasons, but he is 15. It's crazy to even say that. I don't even remember what I was doing at the age of 15. I think the future's bright for him. Daniel Gazdag. Now, this is an interesting one. You may be thinking, listen, this is a no-brainer. And I do think in terms of a output, he is one of our most reliable. Again, great season, even in a down year for his standards, or maybe for the Union standards. 17 goals, 5 assists. My thing is, underneath the new manager, I think what's going to be important is whether or not our players across the board in all positions want to be here through the rebuild phase. If he is somebody that's like, hey, I want to win and I'd rather do it somewhere else, I would say let him go. Because in the middle of all of the new culture and the restructuring, we need players who are going to buy into that vision. If he is all in for it, I would say absolutely have him stay. I'd be glad to have him. He's great and always class. And so Bedoya, I think he is hanging up the boots. I know there was talks at one point of having him stay long-term for a developmental, almost coaching opportunity. Although with Coach Curtin gone, I don't know how much that will be a reality. But I would say he's had a great career, and I'd be okay to let him go. Jeremy Raffanello signed a contract, his first professional contract. Excited to see him. I'm going to go stay. Jack McGlynn, man, his transfer market continues to climb up towards that $10 million mark. I do think for the betterment of his career, it'd be smart for him to go. I also would be interested in seeing how somebody else could potentially unlock that left foot. It's probably the best in MLS. He's an incredible free kick taker. I do think we're better to have him, but his defensive ability or tracking back sometimes lacks. So I would say stay. Jesus Bueno, man, he can be sometimes a fireball, and then other times I feel like I just don't see him. I do think it would be nice to see another coach take a stab at him. For that, I'm going to go ahead and say stay. Danley Jean-Jacques obviously has a long-term contract with us. When he was on, but there were moments where the DNA of our formation was not clicking. Obviously, he's going to be a stay. Nicholas, we haven't seen too much of him, so I'm going to just say NA. Leon Flock, man, I love this guy. He's 23. He's young. He has a long career ahead of him. There were moments where I was looking for maybe more out of him in terms of the shuttler, but he was also fighting injury most of the year. And I do know the kind of psychological toll that might play into decision making or confidence on the field. honestly, I could go either way with him. I like him as a person. I just do not know what he would contribute in terms of something different. So for right now, I'm going to say go, but wishing him all the best if that was the case. Quinn Sullivan, if you asked me in the middle of the season, I would have said go. But what he was able to do towards the end of the year, 5 goals, 10 assists, I'm going to say stay. He's also 20, and let's keep the mojo and the vibes going between him and Kevin. I just want to see them link up a ton like the Aronson brothers did. I think that would be really fun. So he's a stay for me. David Vasquez, CJ Olney, I'm going to say both of them are stay. They are sort of a low risk, high reward, except I will say the only risk that we do run into is not financial as much as it is that we keep them in a roster spot where maybe it would be occupied by somebody else. So moving on, last but not least, to the forwards. And this is an interesting group. Chris Donovan, I'm going to start here with some of the goes. I just can't see it. He's 24. He needs to be kind of further down the line. And in a league where forwards and center attacking mids kind of dictate what it looks like to be a team, he's got to go. Sam Adeniran didn't work. We tried. He's got to go. Marcus Anderson is unbelievable, scored in the U2 championship game and continues to be lights out for them. He's 20 years old. I think he's an easy stay. Ty Baribo, the story of the year, the revelation, the Golden Boot winner from the Leagues Cup, and 9 goals and 2 assists in play in 20 games, and 4 of them were subbed on. He's an easy stay. Mikel Ua, he did trigger his clause in terms of his performance incentives, so I would say we can keep him. Here's my only thing with him, is he is the most expensive player that we have. When he is hot, he is absolutely on fire. When he is cold, he can be ice cold. My thought with this regarding Ua is if we can continue to pursue in the winter transfer market a playmaking center attacking mid, a Martin Odegaard-esque, a Cucho Hernandez, esque player who can kind of unlock and just give him opportunities, I think he's going to be a great asset. Of course, that requires spending. But for Mikel Ua, when he is on fire, he's on fire, and he did earn the right to stay here through triggering his clause. So I'm going to say for him, stay. And that kind of gives us where we leave is just that we're in a ton of question marks, so many thoughts, but I would love to hear your thoughts. This is not my channel, this is our channel, and if there is anybody that you would disagree with, feel free to leave a comment in the chats. Feel free to click to subscribe, because this, I think, may have some merit as we continue to grow the channel. For the longest time, we've been just Instagram, and there is space for discussion, but maybe limited analysis. And so if you like this, please let me know so we can continue to do it. But please do not hesitate to put in the chat, who would you stay? Who would you go? Where does it fall for you? And thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time. With brotherly love, peace.